What's up everyone, welcome to this week's Tip of the Week from Mitech Direct. We have a very special guest in our studio today, but before we get into that, I just wanted to mention that for the month of July, we have a few very cool things lined up for you, from product reviews, product demos, artist interviews, and also a very special surprise that we are waiting to reveal later in the month. So stay tuned, like the page, and subscribe and hit the little bell button on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, so that you get notifications when there is a new video coming out. Today we are speaking again about home studio tips, and if you haven't yet watched the previous episodes, I would encourage you to watch episode 1 to 8 or 1 to 7. This is number 8, and today we have a legend in the studio. Some say that his great-grandfather was a giant and that he's the descendant of Vikings who sailed across the ocean to settle in Namibia. Some say that he's got a tattoo of a Midi keyboard on his back. All we know is that his name is Rias Beardman. Welcome to the show, Rias.
Thank you very much, Udo.
We're going to do a quick one today. Hopefully, we don't know how long the video is going to be, but we're going to speak about home studios. But before we get into that, tell us a bit about your journey, who you are for those who don't know you.
Yeah, thanks, Udo. So, as he said, I am Rias. My Instagram is Rias Beardman. And then maybe on Facebook, Gebaarde Waarheid, if you're Afrikaans. So yeah, my whole spiel or take is I am full-time in ministry, which is a kind of an awesome deal because I get to work with musicians and youth and a lot of gear and tech, a lot of churches with gear and tech, and live out my passion whilst doing what I'm called to do. And I think that's an awesome privilege. So yeah, I've been in the ministry for 10 years now, and I think for 7 or 8 years I've been doing the whole home studio thing, gradually getting there, enjoying myself fully, but yeah, doing the whole bearded truth and then some.
Cool. Tell us about this bearded truth, where it comes from, why bearded truth? I can see you growing the beard. He used to have a really long beard.
Yeah, it was a monster, and I'm busy growing it again. The whole idea of bearded truth was, I had this idea of spreading the gospel or spreading the message and doing it with truth. And so bearded truth means that the truth is like a beard. You don't tell somebody you have a beard, you have a beard. People can see a beard growing in your life, and the truth should be the same way. You don't have to tell people you're telling the truth. They should see the truth in your life, see how truth is growing, and then in my music, in my vlogs, or in the pieces I do, the spoken word stuff, the walking around and talking, it's a big thing, truth. What is truth? And it's not pushing my religion on you, it's saying this is what I experienced, this is what I see is true. So if I do a cover of a song, it's a cover of a song because I love it. It doesn't need to be a Christian song, but when I do a Christian song, I know it's because of this truth that needs to come flow out of me, and using gear and tech and cameras and online and sharing that content and enjoying it fully.
Cool. We're talking about home studios, and let's go into that route a bit. What was your first home studio thing that you recorded with? I know some people recorded with tape machines in the 90s with the onboard microphone. What was your, if you can remember back?
Yeah, it was a very old phonic PA, which should not be used for any recording purposes, but it had a record out, which I said, but if it's a record out, I can plug this into my laptop, which I did. The laptop which did not have a nice sound card or anything, and it didn't sound bad, but it didn't sound good either. I think for the day I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then I had a few friends that, yeah, Rias, what did you do? But it was a good, I think, learning time in my life. But that little phonic system did its best. And that was my very first, using an old SM58 that I borrowed, and a few cables also, and trying my best to do it. Luckily, I had a decent camera that I got doing a few camera gigs that I played. So yeah, no, it was a interesting time.
Cool, humble beginnings.
Yeah.
As usually the case with any artist. Let's quickly talk about a bit of the few things that you would say are essential for a home studio, so that when you guys out there, or ladies, if you're building your own home studio and you want just the basics, just to get started off without wasting your money. And this is coming from someone else besides me. I wanted you to share a bit.
Yeah, I think the big thing is to realize that it's a home studio and it's not supposed to be a professional studio, because you are going to bankrupt yourself very quickly. And as with a lot of us, you will get a certain gear acquisition syndrome, which is a real sickness, and you'll just want to buy everything. So asking yourself, what is my purpose here? What do I want to do? And then seeing, this is what I need, not what I want, because I have the problem, I want this. No, I don't need this. So you start off with the basics, a PC, laptop, something that you won't struggle too much with, because it is a certain amount of processing power that you need. And then the interface. If you have a PC with a certain interface, it can be a 1-channel, it can be a 2-channel. It's what you want to do, and that's what you need. So if you play a guitar and you sing, 2 channels help because you can do it on the same time. But if you're multi-tracking, a 1-channel interface will do the job as well. Then actually you can do it more cleaner, focusing on that single track that you want to focus on. So starting off with a good PC, a good interface, is already a big thing. Then you can move on, and it spreads out from what you do. If you're a guitar player, you can go into a lot of different things, and I think Udo will be a lot better in the guitar stuff than I. If you go into mics, it's from your studio mics or your condenser or dynamic mics, or the type of vocals you're working with. So I think a mic and that which you need for the instrument is important. And from there, I mean, you can go from what type of camera you need. These days, something that shoots HD, but then also that's a big conversation. But yeah, I think the primary thing is a good laptop or good computer, a good interface, and then what are you busy doing? What are you doing?
Yes, I think it's important to realize that when it comes to home studios, you can also gear up in a certain direction. So if you are doing vlogging, like videos, you need a camera.
Yeah.
But if you're just doing music, then you don't need a camera. And lights. Let's quickly talk about lights, because we haven't mentioned that in our home studio tips. So this is our tip for the week. We actually borrowed Rias's light that we sold to him, because we sold out on our SWIT lights, but we are getting stock in again. So tell us about lighting.
Yeah, lighting is important. I used to use a bunch of LEDs that I bought from a hardware store, which is cheap and worked. I had 6 or 7 of them that I used, and it was in a way good, but anybody doing videography would tell you lighting is sometimes more important than the camera itself. Having the light in the right place and having the right light is very important, and that's how my stuff changed with this SWIT light. It's my primary. It has to be decent, it has to do the job that I need it to do, and then I use those LED lights of mine to fill up certain dark spaces. Like yeah, as you see, you just pop a light there, and you can play around with light. Really, it doesn't need to be too expensive, but having a primary light that takes away most of the shadows or put certain shadows in is important. Then filling up the room with the other lights. But lighting is, for any videographer, key thing. It doesn't help you have this ultra expensive camera and you have you use your normal room lights. You are going to have a below par video because the sensors need to work double time. You have a noisy picture. It's just not that nice to look at.
Cool. And quickly share a struggle that you've had as a musician, as a home studio owner. A quick struggle that you would say is key in your journey up to now.
Except for finances, because I have extensively spent a lot of money on the gear I have, which I love and I won't replace them for anything. I think it's the purpose behind what I do and why I do it, because you may have all the gear, and I've built myself a nice home studio and with wonderful gear, but if I don't confront myself with the purpose of what I'm doing, you can be put back in your place very hard, because you put hours and a lot of money into gear and editing, then you upload it and you get 50 or 150 views for days of work, thousands of Namibian dollars, and you just, why am I doing this? And you lose all the fun in it, because now you have to push content for more views, and why am I doing the more views? Because I'm not actually being paid for it. Or if you're just recording for companies or putting your stuff online to sell, it's the same thing. So I think the biggest thing for me is the purpose. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And the wonderful thing is it is a home studio. So you're under no pressure or obligation to overperform and be the next big recording artist. Yeah. You're busy exploring your sound and the stuff you like and the stuff you don't like, buying a mic and saying this thing is horrible, selling the mic again, or buying this synth or this MIDI controller or this interface, or is it realizing I don't need it, like sometimes I feel about my saxophone. And yeah. And so you journey with it, and that's the wonderful thing about a home studio. Then later on you can be professional, you can be excellent, you can put out things that make money, that generate views, but you know your stuff, you know this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then you can just like fully go for it.
Yeah, I think the key thing that you're mentioning there is, for me, is the joy aspect of creating. Being a creative person, we need that outlet, and we can easily become too serious about it, and we can spend all that money on new gear without actually receiving that or giving that joy out. So that inspires me, your work around just being yourself, being like a child in a sense, you know, using your gear and having fun with it, but at the same time creating a community around you. And I think it's about other people as well. You know, you create for people out there, and it's not just about me looking good and me sounding great and being the next big thing, but it's actually about other people and sharing knowledge, kind of having that community and lovingly share your creative skills with them.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing about, if you speak about why we're doing what we're doing, and especially for me, the community aspect of it. Having a home studio is also like not thinking in a business sense. So if we take the community and say, for instance, you want to record with another band or somebody wants to record, you can say, hey, listen, I know you starting off, you want to lend this, or let me come with, and I've got a rather nice interface setup at home. I said, we can do 8 multi-tracks with the headphone amp and do it. I can bring it with me and we can record 8 people at a time. You don't need the 2 interface. And then all of a sudden this guy says, wow, this is awesome. You want to come play with us? Or I sound like a kid, but it's like a kid. And or you've got a certain mic that'll fit someone's vocals better, and you say, but listen, let me bring this mic with. And then all of a sudden your home studio becomes a community studio.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you don't have to rent it out, and you don't need to send it with somebody because people break things. But building relationship through gear is also a very big thing.
Yeah, that's how I met you actually. Yeah. We started chatting in the store here 6 months ago at the beginning of the year, and just chatting around gear, but then you eventually get to know one another, and it's not about the gear. I mean, the gear is just physical stuff and material things, but you can use it to connect with people, and that's this just being in a studio together and chatting about life and creating. Hopefully we'll create some music together at some stage. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. It's super cool.
Yeah, and it makes life easier as well, because a lot of people know you struggle with smaller gear sometimes. You don't need to see someone else struggling. So I like to do it and say, listen, this interface will make it easier. Or the other day when we recorded a band, I brought my cameras with and my rig with for the videographers. So all of a sudden they had a lot nicer toys to play with, to run around with and shoot some video with. Mics as well. There's this wonderful thing about just making it easier for other people, because it's a home studio. It's supposed to be for the cause of music or the cause of recording, whatever it is you do. It's these days definitely a community thing. It's about getting content out there, and the more collaborations you do, the more hits you will get. It's the more people are part of your your thing that you do, the more people will be part of the thing that you do. And if you can use your gear and your knowledge and the things you have and get someone in who has different gear and different knowledge, you can add it together, it's a lot bigger. And that's very late nights and awesome conversations.
Yes, hard work, but great to have community around you.
Definitely.
Well, on that bombshell, we're going to end our show for today. If you enjoyed it, let us know. And if you have any questions around home studios and gear that you need, this is obviously around Mitech Direct. So you are welcome to message us, send us an inbox on Facebook or YouTube, send us a comment, or Instagram. And like our page if you want. If you don't want, that's also fine. Rias, it's such a pleasure to have you in our studio.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to more of these, and may you have a good journey ahead with your arts, and thank you for taking the time. It's really amazing.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.